On May 22nd of 2016, in Greater Manchester, England, a tragic incident unfolded when Lyndsey Vaux, age 30, was discovered lifeless in her home. The circumstances surrounding her death were both distressing and profoundly unsettling. She left behind a 12-year-old daughter. Lyndsey was known to be decent, kind, and a loving human being. But on that fatal day, Lyndsey was observed in a dire state. She was limping in the streets, standing barefoot in the pouring rain, with visible injuries, including blood around her mouth. The signs of distress were evident. Neighbors were unfortunate witnesses to the distressing events that transpired. One neighbor was awoken by the screams of Lyndsey's girlfriend, Becky Reed, age 31, screaming at Lyndsey. He even saw Lyndsey being dragged into their home by her legs. The early hours of that fatal morning were filled with terrifying sounds of Lyndsey's screams and cries as she suffered brutal physical abuse by her girlfriend. Paramedics were eventually called to the scene, but it was too late to save Lyndsey. She was pronounced dead in the hospital merely an hour after their arrival. The extent of the tragedy became apparent as it was revealed that Lyndsey had sustained a staggering 90 injuries to her body, including fractured ribs, head injuries, and severe leg injuries. Lyndsey Vaux had endured a cruel and abusive relationship with her girlfriend for a harrowing 7 years. Becky's manipulation had reached such an extent that Lyndsey's fear of her was overwhelming, and her self-esteem had plummeted, making it nearly impossible for her to break free or seek help. Lyndsey's physical condition also deteriorated drastically during this period. When she met Becky Reed, she weighed 224 pounds, but by the time of her death, she had withered away to a mere 112 pounds. Becky Reed's control extended to even depriving Lyndsey of basic nourishment, to the point where Lyndsey was seen rummaging for food in trash cans. Prosecutors painted a chilling picture of the abuse Lyndsey endured. In one incident, she was brutally kicked in the face by Reed for mistakenly bringing home salad with her burger and chips. Neighbors bore witness to Lyndsey being subjected to physical violence. There were specific instances of violence that were observed, with court testimony revealing how neighbors had, on multiple occasions, witnessed Becky Reed assaulting Lyndsey out in public. In one disturbing incident, as Lyndsey attempted to leave, Becky struck her in the face, causing her to fall to the ground. Lyndsey begged for the assault to cease, but Becky persistently continued her brutal attack, stomping on her face and body while Lyndsey lay helpless on the pavement. Sadly, both Becky Reed and her mother, Gillian Reed, age 56, attacked Lyndsey multiple times, with Gillian Reed even seen kicking her in the ribs. Becky Reed was convicted of murder, sentenced to a minimum of 20 years in prison before being eligible for parole. Her mother, Gillian Reed, was found guilty of actual bodily harm, but received a suspended 12-month jail sentence. Just 2 months before her death, Lyndsey agreed to see a woman's charity about being placed in a refuge, but never went, even though she had been subjected to years of control, abuse, and violent behavior at the hands of her girlfriend.